Okay, so I'm going to go over the two different types of exponential equations that there are. Type 1 for exponential equations is where you can get both of the bases to be the same by means of, any kind of process you can. If you can manage to get the bases the same, what you can do is you can equate their exponents, and then, working through other means, you can solve for your variable x. That's type 1. Type 2 is where no matter what you do, you can't get the bases to be the same. Now, if you can't get the bases to be the same, what we do is we either log, and you have to use either log base 10 or natural log, which is also log base e. You don't have to use these, but for our class, the professor prefers that you use log base 10 or log base e. Okay, so if you can't get the bases the same, you'll log both sides. And the reason we log both sides, this is important, the reason why is to use that little exponential rule for logs and plop the exponents to the front. And then what you can do is solve for your variable, because now your variable is down with everyone else. And you could divide and other things to get your variable by itself. Ooh, that's a weird G. And voila, you're done. So that's type 1, bases can be matched. Type 2, bases can't be matched, you have to use logs. Now we're going to look at logarithmic equations, which also has a type 1 and a type 2. So for type 1, what you'll notice is that there will be only logarithms in the equation. Or you can make it so that there's only logarithms in the equation. No numbers hanging out by themselves without logs. And if you get that with only logs, what you'll do is you'll want to make it one log with the same base on this side and the other log with the same base on that side. Once you have one log equal to another log, what you can do is kind of similar to the exponential one for type 1. You'll equate the arguments. Okay, so this is the argument of this log, that's the argument of the other log. What we'll do is we'll equate them, and x equals y. Or you'll maybe have to solve around for x. For type 2, what you'll see is that you'll have logs and there'll be a number hanging out over here. Sorry, let's just call this n. There'll be a number hanging out over here. So we can't do this equating thing here because this doesn't account for a number hanging out. This is just between a log and another log. Since we have this number hanging out, for the type 2, what we're going to do is we condense the logs to one side of the equation and the numbers to the other side. Okay, so I'd have log b x times the number, whatever this other argument is, equal to n. Now, what we do when we get it into this is we'll change it to exponential form. Okay, so once you have your log equal to your number, you change it to exponential form. Your base raised to the answer will give you the argument. B to the n equals x times the number. And after that, you solve for your variable. You can divide by whatever's hanging out with the x. And whatever all this is over here will give you your answer. So that's type 2. Remember, for exponential, type 1, you can match the bases, equate the exponents. Type 2, you can't match the bases, so you log both sides, use the power rule, work around to get your variable. For logarithmic equations, for type 1, you have only logs. You put one log on this side, one log on the other side, then equate their arguments. For type 2, you don't have only logs. You have logs as well as numbers. What you do, you get logs on one side, numbers on the other side, change it to an exponent, and solve for your variable. Yay!